Hello and welcome to the Unfiltered Mind podcast with me, your host, Sarah Eidman. Before I forget, if you can, please like, rate and subscribe or comment or just any engagement because it really does help this all grow for me. So any of that would be fantastic and very much appreciated. If you're watching on YouTube, I apologise for the state of my hair. I have not washed it in about 10 days because I've not been running at the moment, so I'm just seeing how long I can go. I think, just being real. But it might need to get washed soon because it's getting a bit out of hand. But yeah, I've been really sick the past few weeks. But hopefully we're on the upward trajectory. Anyway, but that's why we have been missing a few weeks, and my social media did have a brief hiatus for that purpose. But I am trying to get back on the bandwagon because, and this is just a little bit insight to behind the scenes. If anyone has any advice on this, I am please message me because I'm all ears. And just putting out there and manifesting that this is somehow going to work out. I am still looking for sponsorship for my project, and it's been tough. So this is why I am trying to increase my social media presence more, because if you get that magic 10,000 followers, you're onto something. But me and my I love all my 500 followers on Instagram, but it's not cutting it for the sponsorships. So if anybody has any advice, any tips, please let me know. And just if you can engage in my content, if you feel like it. Anyway, that's my admin out the way. And if you are watching on YouTube, I do have my little fiddle thing, which is great. This is a new one this is my favourite one that I've got so far. So the only unfortunate thing is it does crack a little bit. So if you do hear little cracks on the old microphone, I do apologise. However, on to the podcast. So yeah, today I wanted to kind of talk about the racing season and staying in your own experiences. Because I think so many of us, especially when we're on our kind of, it's marathon time obviously, and everyone's kind of training, or even for high rocks, etc. Everyone's training for stuff at points, and if you're training for the same thing, it's so easy to compare yourself to other people that are training for that same race, same event, same whatever. Or even if it's just somebody who is literally doing the same thing as you at the gym, and it can be an instant comparison. Or the other aspect is you are doing the same thing that you've been training for like last year, and you're having a different experience, because that is also the same thing as you can compare yourself to your own experiences. And whether that is in a race or just normal training, it makes it really tough. So that's what I kind of wanted to talk about today. And yeah, even if you are training for the same race as you were a year before or whatever, like everything changes. And I feel like for us, a lot of us will live, one, in social media, because that is where our world is. And two, we live in the past or the future, or we live in this kind of reality that we want to be in. And we forget to just kind of be in the moment. We forget to be in the present moment, where actually we just need to focus on what's going on right now. Instead of thinking, oh, I want to compare that to last year, or I want to think this is where I want to go. Looking at the future is brilliant, but also there is so much of just being in the moment. And as our society is, we're really bad at that. We're not bad, shall I say, we're not encouraged, I would say, to be in the moment, because capitalism doesn't benefit from that mostly. If we are living in the moment, suddenly we don't need to buy anything, suddenly we don't need to spend any money, and we're just at peace, and that is not good for capitalism. Anyway, that is a whole other rant I could go on. I'm not going to do that today. That's a different ballgame. Don't get me started on that. But what I want to kind of focus on more today is your experiences that you're going through right now, and how you can channel that into how you're feeling and benefit your own training. So for example, Manchester and London are on the same weekend, I think, and a lot of people are racing Manchester and London Marathon. And suddenly when you go on Strava, you see what everybody else is doing. And that takes you away from what you're doing and your training and how you're having to manage these things. And you never know what's going on with anybody else on their training. Like anybody else's life or anything else. Like you just don't know. And that's when I think Strava has a purpose, but also why, for me, myself, I have completely come off Strava. I use it sometimes for my clients, but I have completely come off Strava because for me, my project, my goal is, it might be somebody training for it, but I don't think anyone else is training for it. And I can't compare, because all I'm doing is I log onto Strava and I then scroll through it and I see people running way faster than me or slower than me, but more than me or less than me. And suddenly I'm in this comparison zone of, I'm not doing enough. Even if I'm doing more, suddenly it's not enough because when I'm then scrolling on Strava, I'm not moving, I'm not doing anything unless I'm at the gym and I'm bored. However, it's that way of suddenly nothing is ever going to be enough. And it's taking out all these aspects. For me, it's trying to block out extra noise. And that is, to be fair, these are all what most of the stuff I will talk about is like a parallel to life. You can compare this to Instagram, you compare this to any kind of form of social media, and we can compare this to how we then navigate that more and kind of what barriers can we take out. Can we take out the barrier of when we go on Strava, it makes us feel a bit worse, so we don't do it. We don't do it. You know what I mean? There's no point to that. It's just quite simple as, well, we don't need to see what other people are doing. And quite frankly, other people don't need to see what you're doing. So, it is ironic that I'd be posting this on social media. However, that is the world that we live in. And that is just what happens now, isn't it? But I think, especially if your training's not going to plan, like for me, I've had a weird January that's not going to plan how I thought it would. But I have tried to take out the aspects of comparisons that could affect me more mentally and just focus on what I need to do in that day, at that moment, in the time. But what happens when your training doesn't go to plan and you see everybody else doing different stuff, and your training might look like it's cross training, it might look like you're having to do strength training, it might look like, goodness me, I've got to just have a week of rest. And that is absolutely okay, but suddenly when you go on social media, it feels like it's not okay. So my focus on this kind of chat today, shall we call it a chat, is that when you are experiencing your race training, any training, see if you can challenge yourself to be right where you are right there. Is not comparing yourself to past you, because past you has different experiences and has every day is different in life, so every day is going to feel different in your body, in your mind. And some years, you're going to smash your training, every single box is going to get ticked, amazing. Some years life gets in the way, and that's okay. We have this also drive of just put your head down, just get on, just do it, do. And for me, I think that is such a bad mentality to have within the fitness industry. Yes, there is an extent where you do have to get on with it to an extent and where you do just need to get out the door. But also there's a point where you got to listen to your body and you got to respect the process of your mind. If you're not a professional athlete, if you're a professional athlete, completely different. But if you are the kind of bog standard person who trains mainly for the benefits of it, health benefits, mental benefits, then why are you creating this mentality of, just no breaks, let's go every day in, day out, let's go? Where is that coming from? And again, I feel it comes from the capitalist society. If we just keep going, you're not allowed to have rest days, you're not allowed to have a day of work, so it's taking out as many barriers as you can. And that is often encouraging rest days for me, because if you don't rest, your body can't recover and get back into the flow. And that is when you get sick, get injured. And for a time and period, that's absolutely, you can power through, but it does catch up with you. Trust me, I know. And from that, it's thinking, how can I block out the noise? Basically, this whole podcast is going to be about, it's just how can we block out noise? Because the noise that comes from other people and comes from capitalism and society and social media doesn't benefit you in the slightest. It just distracts you, number one, from your present moment and where you are right now. But it also creates that horrible way of, we're never living in the present because we're living in somebody else's experiences. We forget to live in our own experiences. And living in our own experiences can be really scary because it means that we are then acknowledging our thoughts, our feelings. That's hard. Why would we do that when we can be distracted by everybody else? Why would we focus on how we feel in that moment? Why would we focus on the thoughts that we're having or the challenges that we might be facing? We would do that because that is what we probably should do as humans. I hate to say it, not should, I hate using the word should, could, whatever, but it's something that really benefits you as a human being, and there's a time and place for that, but we use distraction so much. I do it, like it's nothing, I'm not saying I don't do any of this, I do all of this, but we just use that distraction constantly because we struggle now to sit and we struggle to be with our emotions and our feelings. And what I've experienced from a society that kind of says like, well, just push it down, just be busy, don't worry about your feelings, don't worry about your thoughts, just get on with it. It catches up. It catches up with you. And that, at some point, if we struggle to communicate those feelings, really does affect you. And if we don't talk about it, then it's going to affect you. And that is exactly the same with racing. You know, if we just keep going and driving and powering through any injuries, any illnesses, and we forget to listen to our minds and our body, we're not robots. You know, unfortunately, we're not there yet. And I don't know how many times maybe in the past month I've been like, I just want to be a machine. Like, this is annoying me. But unfortunately, we're human and we're not machines. AI has not taken over yet. So, especially when training doesn't go to plan, my recommendation is block out the noise. But actually, that focuses, you could do that on even when training is going to plan, and you just want to really focus on your life, block out the noise. Take out the barriers, take away the extra stuff that you don't need, focus on what you can do. And that's another thing, focus on what you can do, not what you can't do. So if your training isn't going to plan, say, you're getting really frustrated, what can you do about that? What can you do training-wise? Can you cross-train? Can you go on the cross-trainer? Can you swim? Can you do the bike? If you're a runner, you know, it's all these things. Or can you focus on, I can do my physio? Great. Focus on the physio. It's what we can do rather than what we can't do. I spent so long thinking, I can't do this, I can't do that, Actually, when I've had this chest infection, I can still go walk. Brilliant. Might get breathless, but I can still go out and walk. And now this week, I can go back to the gym and I can do my strength training. I'm making time for my strength training as much as I hate it. You know, it's these are the things we can do. Oh, actually, because I'm not out running so much, I can focus on my uni work more. I can try and get ahead on that. And then when I'm back running more, I won't be as stressed about that. God forbid, you can postpone your race. The world won't end if you're not a professional athlete. If you're a professional athlete, it's completely different. So, you know, it's all these things. And something I've tried to do this time round in this training block has been like, do you know what? I'll have a select time for a bit of a pity party, a bit of a moan, a bit of a rant, and then I'll move on. And I'll just go, this is what it is. What can I do? What do I get to do? And remain grateful for those things. You know, I'm grateful that I could still go walking and I can still go walking. I'm grateful that actually within a week I'll probably be back out running full pelt. You know, it's all these things of, it's so easy to get caught in the moment, but actually also then for me it's, well, I am grateful that I have access to healthcare that can provide, you know, guidance for a chest infection, that can give you medication for a chest infection, and which will get me better. So for me it's that gratitude of a wider thing, but something that I have found crucial is removing the noise. It was coming off social media for 2 weeks pretty much. Sorry, my cats are having zoomies. Big cats. They're like 7 kilos, just charging about the flat. Anyway, looking a bit scary. You know, it was blocking out the noise. And that goes for Strava, that goes for training. Live in the moment that you're in right now. It's your experiences, nobody else's, and it's your experiences right now. That is going to be different to your experiences last year, your experiences next year. But you get to be in the day today. And isn't that kind of cool, actually? You can choose to live in the moment rather than living in the past, living in the future, living on social media, scrolling and experiencing it through somebody else. You get to experience it through you. Your own thoughts, your own feelings, and how do we tap into this more? How do we acknowledge our own feelings? That's a big one. Yeah, it's a big one. Yeah, somebody else said that recently, didn't they? So, you know, it's really just focus on you. Focus on the connections you build when you focus on you. When you're more honest, other people are way more honest with you as well. And if you say, guys, I can't talk about training right now because I'm having a crap time, pretty sure anyone around you will go, oh my goodness, okay, yeah, totally, we get that. If you say, I'm not going to be on social media for 2 weeks, people are going to get that. They're going to be like, oh, thank you for sharing that. Like, we feel like we can talk to you now. When you open up, other people open up. And sometimes it's really hard because it feels like we shouldn't. It's okay for everyone else, but it's not for us. And it's really difficult to open up if you're not in touch with your own feelings in the moment, living in the past. You know, we can often talk about experiences from the past, but talking about where we are right now is scary, is hard. But I encourage you, whether it's in training, whether it's you reflect on each run, each session, you think, how did I feel in that? How was my body in that? How was my mind in that session? And then you can close a book on that, move on, get on with your day. You know, live in the next part of your day. But also, if you do get caught into that comparison cycle, I encourage you to remember to say that these are my experiences. My experience will be different in every single time, every moment, every training session. It will be different. And also, my experiences are not anybody else's. How can I live in my experiences and not anybody else's? That is my question to you. And if you have any tips, please do let me know, because it's something I'm working on. Anyway, I'm back, hopefully, back in business. And again, please do like, rate, and subscribe. And I will, fingers crossed, be with you next week.